A very good morning to all of you. Today we will discuss register organization of 8086. Before going to register organization, we will discuss some features of 8086 microprocessor. So 8086 is a 16-bit microprocessor. It has 20 address lines and 16 data lines that supports up to 1 megabyte storage. It has powerful instruction set which provides operations like multiplication and division. It supports two modes of operation. First one is maximum mode and the second one is minimum mode. The maximum mode is suitable for system having multiple processors and minimum mode is suitable for system having single processor. We can see the features. It has an instruction queue which is capable of storing 6 instruction bytes from the memory, resulting in faster processing. Because of this instruction queue, the processor can prefetch the instruction and store in this instruction queue. It was the first 16-bit processor having 16-bit ALU, 16-bit registers, internal data bus and 16-bit external data bus, resulting in faster processing. It is available in 3 versions. First one is 8086. Its clock rate is 5 MHz. 80862, its clock rate is 8 MHz. And the third one, C80861, its clock rate is 10 MHz. It uses 2 stages of pipelining, fetch stage and execute stage, which improves performance. Because of the instruction queue, the processor can prefetch instructions and store in this instruction queue. At the same time, it can decode it and execute the instructions from the instruction queue. So the parallel processing is possible. So it will result in faster processing. So fetch stage can be prefetch up to 6 bytes of instruction. It has 256 vectored interrupts. It consists of 29,000 transistors. Next we can discuss register organization. 8086 has a powerful set of registers, general purpose and special purpose registers. All the registers of 8086 are 16-bit registers. General purpose registers can be used either 8-bit registers or 16-bit registers. These general purpose registers are usually used for holding data, variables and intermediate results temporarily. The special purpose registers are used as segment registers, pointers, index registers or as offset storage registers for particular addressing modes. We will discuss one by one in detail. These are the registers: general data registers, segment registers, flag register and pointers and index registers. First we can see general data registers. There are 4 general data registers: AX, BX, CX and DX. Each of them are 16-bit registers. So first one, AX. AX is the accumulator register. It's a 16-bit register where the lower bits of AX, that is designated as AL, and the higher 8 bits of AX is designated as AH. It can be used as 8-bit register or 16-bit register. This AH and AL both are 8-bit registers. Then it is actually used for storing data of arithmetic and logical operations, also used for data transfer, input-output operations, used for storing the data result of multiplication and division. Next one is BX. BX is the base register. So base register, it is also a 16-bit register. It can be divided into 2 registers, 2 8-bit registers, BH and BL. This BX register, it holds the starting base location of the memory region within the data segment. We will discuss what is data segment and all. So actually it is used as an offset storage for forming physical address in case of certain addressing modes. It is actually used to store the offset storage. Then next is counter register or count register. It is also a 16-bit register. It is also divided into 2 8-bit registers, CH and CL. This counter register is used in the case of a string and loop instructions. In the case of loop instruction, to store how many iterations. uh, uh, that means to count the number of iterations, we are using this counter register. And in the case of string manipulation, to count the number of bits to be shifted or rotate, that should be stored in that can be stored in this counter register. So we can say that these counter register are commonly used in string and loop instructions. The next is data register, that is DX register. So it is also a 16-bit register. It can be divided into two registers, DH and DL. By concatenating with an AX, it can be used as a 32-bit register for storing the result of multiplication and division operator. So by concatenating this AX and DX, we can use it as a 32-bit register. And this DX register is also used as a port number in IO operations for specifying the ports in some in and out operations. So these are the general data registers. Next is segment registers. So there are 4 segment registers, that is CS, SS, DS and ES. So chord segment register, data segment register, extra segment register and stack segment register. So before discussing these registers, we can discuss the segmentation of the memory, that is memory segmentation. So we already discussed the size of address bus of 8086 is 20 and it is able to address 1 megabytes of physical memory. But this memory is not active at one time. All this memory so actually this 1 bytes of memory are partitioned into 16 segments. And size of each segment is 64 kilobytes. Only 4 of these segments are active at a time. Here we can see the 4 segments: data segment, code segment, stack segment and extra segment. Here each segments are 64 kilobytes. You can see the size of each segment is 64 kilobytes. Here the code segment that holds the program instruction codes. And the stack segment is actually used to store interrupt and subroutine return addresses. And then data segment stores the data for the program. And extra segment is the extra data segment that is often used for shared data. So each of these segments are addressed by an address stored in the corresponding segment registers. That is chord segment register, stack segment register, data segment register and extra segment registers. So these registers are 16-bit registers. The 16-bit that contains 16-bit base address that points to the lowest address byte of the segment. So because of the segment registers cannot store 20 bits, they can only store up to the upper 16 bits. So we can see each registers. First one is chord segment registers. So in the case of chord segment register, it is used for addressing a memory location in the chord segment of the memory. So it holds the base address of the chord segment of the memory where the executable program is stored. So this chord segment register cannot be changed directly. The chord segment register is automatically updated during far jump, far call and far return instructions. So we can say that it is used for addressing memory location in the chord segment of the memory where the executable program is stored. So next is stack segment register. So stack segment register is a 16-bit register that contains address of 64 kilobyte segment with a program stack. So it is actually used for addressing stack segment of the memory. And this stack segment register can be changed directly using the pop instruction. So the stack segment is the segment of the memory which is used to store the stack data. Okay, and the base address of this stack segment of the memory that is stored in this stack segment register. So actually To address while addressing any location in the memory, the physical address is calculated from the two parts. The first is actually from the segment address, and the second is actually offset. The segment register contains the 16-bit segment base address, and that is added to the offset value. We will get the location of any memory location, physical memory location. So next is actually data segment register. So the data segment register actually points to the data segment of the memory where data is stored. So it contains the base address of the data segment of the memory, and this data segment register can be changed directly using OP and LDS instructions. And next is extra segment register. So this extra segment register is also a 16-bit register that contains address of 64 kilobit segment, usually with the program data. That means this by default the control of the compiler remains in the DS, that is data segment, where the user can add and modify the instruction. If there is less space in that segment, then ES is used, that is extra segment is used. So extra segment is commonly used for copying purpose, and the base address of this extra segment of the memory is stored in this extra segment register. So it refers to the segment which essentially is another data segment of the memory. It also contains data. So next we can see pointers and index registers. So pointers which contains within the particular segments. So the pointers are here we can see the 5 registers SP, BP, SI, DI and IP. So here the pointers are IP, BP and SP. That usually contains object within the code, data and stack segment respectively. So first we can see IP, that is instruction pointer. So the instruction pointer that always points to the next instruction to be executed. So it contains offset address related to the odd segment. So this instruction pointer is a register that holds address of the next instruction to be fetched from the memory. It contains offset of the next word of the instruction code instead of its actual address. So we can say that this IP register always works together with the CS segments register. Where CS segment register that points to the currently executing instruction, and IP points to the address of the next instruction to be executed. Next is base pointer. So this base pointer register also points to the same stack segment. So it is primarily used to access parameters passed via stack. That means it contains the offset address related to the code segments. Then stack pointer, that is SP. So stack pointer pointing to the program stack in the stack segment. So we can say that it points to the program stack. That means SP stores the base address of the stack segment. It always points to the top item on the stack. Offset address related to the stack segment. But BP also points to the same stack segment. But unlike SP, we can say that this BP can be used to access data in the other segments also. But the SP points always to the base address of the stack segment. So that's all about the pointers. There are 3 pointers actually. So actually this CPU, that means the CPU uses the stacks for temporarily storing some important data. That means the contents of the CPU registers, which will be required at a later stage. So the data is pushed into the stack in the memory location with a decreasing address. That means the stack goes down. When this information will be required by the CPU, then it will be popped off from the stack. Then we can see the index registers. The index registers are used as general purpose registers as well as for offset storage in case of index, based index and relatively based index addressing modes. There are two index registers, source index register and destination index register. So we can see source index register. So source index register, it's a 16-bit register. It is used for indexed, based index and register indirect addressing modes, as well as it also used for storing the source data address in string manipulation instructions. So we can say that it can be used as a pointer for addressing of data. Then destination index register, it is also a 16-bit register. It is also used for index, based index and register indirect addressing modes, as well as it is also used as storing the destination in some string processing instructions. So we can say that it can be used as a pointer for addressing data. So these are the index registers. Next is flag register. Flag register are used to store the status of the result in the result of ALU, and also used some, it contains some it's actually used for controlling the CPU operations. So it indicates the result of computation in the ALU and also contains some flag bits to control the CPU operation. So it is a 16-bit register that behaves like a flip-flop. Each changes its status according to the result stored in the accumulator. It has 9 flags. They are divided into two groups, conditional flag and control flags. These are the 16 flags from with index 0 to 15. And here we can see that some X, that is with index 1, 3, 5, 12, 13, 7, 14, 15, there we can see X. So that indicates that these flags are not used. So remaining 9 flags are there and they are divided into two. One is conditional flags and the second one is control flags. First, we can see some conditional flags. So it represents the result of the last arithmetic and logical instructions executed. So according to the result, these flags will be set or reset. So we can discuss one by one. First, we will discuss sign flag, that is S. With index 7, you can see S, that is the sign flag. This flag is set when the result of any computation is negative. For signed computation, the sign flag equals the MSB of the result. So if the result of any ALU operation is a negative value, so this flag will be set, otherwise it will be reset. Next is Z, that is zero flag. Zero flag that corresponding to the index 6. This flag is set if the result of the computation or comparison performed by the previous instruction is 0. If the result is 0, it will be set, otherwise it will be reset. Next is parity flag. Parity flag with index 2, we can see P. So this flag is set to 1 if the lower byte of the result contains even number of ones. So the result contains even number of ones, then this flag will be set. Otherwise, it will be reset. We are checking the lower order of 8 bits of the result. Then next is carry flag with the index value 0. You can see CY, that is a carry flag. So this flag is set when there is a carry out of MSB in the case of addition or borrow in the case of subtraction. If there is a carry in the case of addition or borrow in the case of a subtraction, this corresponding flag will set. That is a carry flag. So it indicates an overflow condition for unsigned integer arithmetic. Next is auxiliary carry flag, AC. You can see with the index number 4, AC. You can see that is an auxiliary carry flag. This flag is set if there is a carry from the lowest nibble during addition or borrow for the lowest nibble during subtraction. So if an operation is performed in ALU, generates a carry or borrow from the lower nibble, that means D0 to D3, to the upper nibble, that is D4 to D7. The AC flag is set. So the carry given by D3 bit to D4 is the AC flag. If there is no, that means this will be reset. Next is overflow flag, that is O flag, that is with the index 11. You can see O, that corresponding to overflow flag. This flag is set if an overflow occurs, if the result of the signed operation is large enough to accommodated in the destination register. So this corresponding flag will be set. So these are the conditional flags. Then next we can see control flags. So there are 6 conditional flags, remaining 3 are control flags. So the control flags are set or reset deliberately to control the operations of the execution unit. First we can see trap flag. If this flag is set, a trap interrupt is generated after the execution of each instruction. The processor executes the current instruction and the control is transferred to the trap interrupt service routine. So it is actually used for single step control. It allows the user to execute one instruction of a program at a time for debugging. So when a trap flag is set, the program can run in single step mode. Okay. Next is interrupt flag. Interrupt flag, if this flag is set, the maskable interrupt are recognized by the CPU. That means it is an interrupt enable or disable flag. If it is set, a maskable interrupt of 8086 is enabled. And if it is reset, the interrupt is disabled. It can be set by executing instructions and can be cleared by some executing instructions like CLIN and all. The next is direction flag. So this is actually used by string manipulation operation. If this flag is set with bit is 0, the string is processed beginning from the lowest address to the highest address. That is auto increment mode. If it is set to 1, then that will be in auto decrement mode. That is actually it is used in string operation. If it is set means string bytes are accessed from higher memory address to the lower memory address. When it is reset means the string bytes are accessed from lower memory address to higher memory address. So these are the flags. So these are the registers in 8086. So we have discussed general data registers, then segment registers, flag registers, then pointers and index registers. Thank you.